Okay, I think we're live. The honking, nice. Hello, everyone. How are we doing? We got some people showing up here. Thais, Vanda, Sam, Chi, Bruna, Anupriya. How are you guys doing? Let's ask the typical question of where is everyone joining in from? Hello, Vanda. Lovely. How's everyone's Tuesday? Nice. We can wait a couple of minutes as a warm up. Me personally, I'm located in Turkey. More specifically, usually I'm in Istanbul, but right now I'm in another city in Turkey. And joining me are two of our product people here. We have Emrah, our product marketing manager, and our head of product, Alican. Where are you guys speaking from?
Us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Both of us actually, we are in Istanbul right now, in
Yeah.
Turkey.
Nice. Vanda is saying hi from Amsterdam as well. Um, Turkey based, yeah, EU based. Lovely. So yeah, I mean we can get started. So hello everyone to this session. We have a very special Q&A session with our product people. We got Emrah, we got Alican, who have been a part of user guiding since the beginning of the establishment. So today we're focusing on getting the most use out of our newest tools, which are the knowledge base and the AI assistant. We'll be exploring those, and of course, with the help of Alican and Emrah, um, they've built these tools. And today they're going to help us with understanding more about what are the best practices, how to use them, what is the best way to optimize them. And it is a Q&A session, so if there's any questions at any point, we're going to be talking about them. You can ask our head of product any questions about these tools. Um, so yeah, we can get started. So initially, we can talk about the addition of these solutions. We got the knowledge base, we got the AI assistant, and these two tools, we've added them to our deck for about a year now, right? The knowledge base first.
Yeah, the knowledge base, probably more than a year, and AI system at least 6, 7 months now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. So can I ask why did we add them, and what was the reason for building these features?
Emrah, I think I should answer this one.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So like, uh, I'm not gonna go over with all the details, but like at the end of the day, user guiding is a digital adoption platform. We're not just doing onboarding, and self-serve support is a huge part of digital adoption and your product-led growth journey. So that's why we say like we have to cover those areas for our users because it's gonna make their organization more proactive and more, let's say, efficient for their operations. And it's not just the concern of a product manager or a product people. At the end of the day, it's the concern of the whole company, whole organization. You need to have a more efficient self-serve support experience in your product. That's gonna pay off in the long term. In the short term, it's a big advantage. So that's why we are trying to fill those gaps in the digital adoption area. Yeah.
I mean, you've used the term, I think this is the new buzzword of having like self-service and
Yeah.
right. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? So like in your definition, what
Mhm.
falls under that like label of like self-service, and why should organizations add it to their operations?
Yeah, okay. So like in terms of these kind of operations, there are two approaches that you can take. The first one is the reactive approach. So in this approach, you react what people are asking you to do, or whenever there's a support request, you need to react, and it's not that efficient. You need to be online all the time, and whenever there's a question or there's a need, you need to make the preparation after you receive the question. And the second approach, the proactive approach, is more scalable, and it's more, let's say, data informed. So you need to have a set of information about what your users are asking to you, because there are like a lot of recurring stuff, same questions all the time. So you make your preparation beforehand, and you try to eliminate this first level questions, queries, that repeating stuff from your daily operations, so that you'll have more time to have people working on more important tasks, more scalable tasks. Yeah. So that's why we are trying to take this second proactive approach, and we also suggest our users to take that one. Yeah.
What are some examples where you think this would be implemented on? Like, for example, um, well, let me reiterate my question. Like, at what point, or what are some patterns, let's say a customer success manager, or like a head of support, at what are some signs that they should look out for, and then that makes them think like, oh, maybe I should implement some like self-service for this.
I mean, I think I can actually take this, Emrah. It mostly depends on your product, first of all. But I mean, if you have a pretty straightforward product, I mean, most of the time the support queries you get are like pretty straightforward ones, and actually you can pretty easily set up proactive self-service support actions for those straightforward queries. But even if you don't have a straightforward product, even if you have a pretty complex and like pretty niche SaaS product, let's say, you still have apart from the customized parts of your product, you still have like standard parts, like initial onboarding parts, or like straightforward starting points for like future adoptions, some features adoptions. So you can still use self-service support for those kinds of queries. And the way to pinpoint those type of queries is actually what we did was like checking out the support queries that we've been getting over a period of time, like at least for a year, and we've been like ranking them, and we've been like going through them, and like most of the queries we get are like pretty straightforward ones, and we have been implementing a lot of walkthroughs and guides and other types of stuffs for that. But we saw that the time has come to kind of move on from those kinds of approaches and move on to a more proactive approach, just like an AI assistant or an integrated widget in your app that is integrated with your knowledge base for short and easy and brief answers.
So the tools that we had so far, the guides, the product tours, checklists, hotspots, these would also fall under the proactive approach, right? Or would it be reactive?
Yeah, definitely. But those are mainly for kind of either for a little bit more complex tours, let's say, or complex actions, or for initial onboarding. So they are pretty useful for initial onboarding, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the initial onboarding of a user. It can also be an initial onboarding of a new feature for an existing user. But once the feature is adopted or a new user is activated, you now have like almost like infinite amount of cases, an infinite amount of questions that you can get asked by your users about a specific feature, let's say. So it just doesn't make a lot of sense to put in the effort to create experiences to cover all of those like almost infinite amount of cases by creating different experiences for each of them. And it's just takes a lot of effort and time. That's one exactly the proactive self-service support comes into play. And for our case and for most of our users' cases, saves the day.
Yeah, for sure. What I want to know is like, because we've been going through this route of user onboarding and feature adoption, but now adding these two solutions, and especially the knowledge base, actually, which is what I find interesting, and I will ask you a question about this later on as well. Is what I want to know is, now that we're like a little bit expanding, as you said, from, let's say, like the user onboarding or the feature adoption, but now it's a little bit, it seems to be a little bit more like support, and what I would call like, there's the onboarding and then there's the ongoing experience of the users. How do these two tools connect with the other features that are like pre-existing as well in user guiding, like the guides or the resource center? Is there a connection between them, or is there like a way that you can create like a wholesome user experience by combining both, or do you see them as two separate entities? And I think both of you guys can answer this question.
Yeah, actually, like before talking about the actual physical connection about those tools, because like there are a lot of different ways to connect the resource center, the knowledge base, the AI assistant and stuff. Actually, it's all about the onboarding and adoption experience for the end users. Everybody has their own approach, and there's something that we need to accept. Like there's something we call the free discovery phase, and not all the users are really friendly with the pop-ups that appear in the middle of the screen. So we are trying to avoid disturbing the free discovery process, and we are trying to create materials that are available on demand. So everybody has their own different learning path. So as I said, like we're not approaching this to be everything to be complementary and be a part of a single user experience, but we are trying to cover separate experiences. Like for me, myself, I love the tours, and I try not to avoid them, but people are allergic to those tours, especially to pop-ups like that appear in the middle of your screen and say like you won the lottery or anything like silly stuff. You guys remember those stuff, right?
Yeah.
Especially in the websites.
Yeah.
So like after some phase, I get familiar with several products. What I do is I try to read the documentation and learn the details and the possibilities. And as Emrah said, like at the beginning, the questions, the people, the things that people are trying to do are quite similar. But after some period of time, there are a lot of possibilities that they need to you need to cover. So to cover those, you need to have more flexible materials, and knowledge base is actually, this is the reason why we have the knowledge base.
So
The free discovery process, yeah.
the free discovery process. You wanted something that's more, as you said, like more on demand. And I guess you would have different user types that prefer different methods of assistant.
Yeah, that's the reason behind. That's the actual reason behind. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, let's focus on the knowledge based first. How about that? We can begin with. I mean, from your experience, you briefly mentioned a little bit of why we added the knowledge base. Maybe going a little bit into details. The knowledge base was actually, we had the product updates page first, which was the first thing that was external from the embedded on,
the standalone page.
The standalone page, right? What is the design intent, the philosophy, and like why did we choose to go this path as opposed to keeping something inside the application?
Yeah, actually, I can also reply to that. Talking about our own approach, like for a while when we started to build user guiding, we focused on specific use cases. But after a while, we noticed that similar people are using our tool, like people are that are related to the product organizations in their teams, especially product managers, customer success managers, product owners, UX managers, and people like that, like people with very similar tasks and concerns. And onboarding, in-app onboarding was one of them. And instead of focusing on the use case, we focused on our users and their daily, monthly, weekly routines. And we found out that there's a communication gap between them and their users. And actually, the onboarding flow was a small part that is filling this gap, but they needed some extra stuff to be able to communicate with their users. And we noticed that some of them are like bi-weekly, some of them are monthly routines while communicating their users about the changes inside their product. So that's why we came up with this idea to build this product updates page. It's part of a communication between the product team and the user. Yeah.
Right, right. And in the same way, I guess the same method was kind of applied with the knowledge base. It's maybe from like support to user.
It is actually, but it's more like like product people, they create a lot of content, but they're mostly internal use. Like you create product requirements documents, and you create a lot of stuff to communicate with your developers and designers, all the edge cases and everything. And we noticed that like at the end of the day, it's not always the product people creating these manuals and these like knowledge bases, but we noticed that it's more efficient when they create those materials and when they're involved in creating those materials. And we noticed the trend. So they're also creating public documentation as well, which is quite useful and quite successful. So instead of focusing just on the onboarding use case, we took those product people and listened to their needs, concerns, and again, just like the product updates page, we found out that they need a public platform to be able to manage this kind of information without also they don't want to go to developers or other people in their platform to say that, okay, there's something changed in our documentation. Can you help me update this page or anything? So we wanted to give them this control over the public content about the product.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. This takes me to my next question, actually. Emrah, maybe if you want to tackle this one as well. What makes our knowledge base different from just like linking to like a help center or like an external help center? Yeah.
Well, if you're already using user guiding, it will help you. Like, first of all, it will it's already included in your plan, so you won't have any extra costs, which is a big plus. But other than that, it will be it will give you a lot of opportunities to bring your external knowledge base in-app, which is a big plus because you won't have to force your users to go outside of the app to look for answers to your questions. So you will like easily integrate and embed your knowledge base into a single widget with our resource center, and
This-
yeah, just within a single widget inside the app, the users will be able to, well, your users will have access to your whole knowledge base, and they will be able to search through your knowledge base. And even if you are also using the AI assistant, they will also have access. They will also have the ability to ask questions directly to your AI assistant and find the answers through the same widget, same single widget in app, which is a big plus. And I mean, you can still integrate other knowledge bases into our resource center. But if you are using the user guidance knowledge base and AI assistant solution along with the resource center, along with our resource center, this whole process will be much more robust.
Makes sense. I mean, you would have, and I was doing like a little bit of research from our solution as well on our health documents. It also helps with, I guess, like the SEO and the indexing. If you were to index the articles in the correct way, um, so it has like multiple advantages as well, not just like integrating it inside the app, but then you'll be able to
Yeah,
expand.
you're right. It also gives you a unexpected, I would say, a marketing use case as well. With your knowledge base articles being indexed by Google, if you give a little effort on the SEO work on your article pages, on your knowledge base pages, you will have much more organic traffic through your knowledge base into your product as well.
Perfect. What are some of the tips, let's say, you will be able to give for someone that's just starting off with building a knowledge base? Like, let's say they're watching it now and they're like, oh, okay, this sounds like intriguing. Maybe I want to check it out. What would you say, is like the most effective way of building your knowledge base?
Actually, we already got some content about this, but I'll just talk about the stuff that comes to my mind first. I'm not gonna. Haven't done any preparation for this question before, but there's one thing that comes to my mind every time I create content on the knowledge base. It's like inside the company, inside your teams, you have your own way to name the features or anything inside your product. But while building content, you need to make sure how your users are naming it. So you need to talk to them and like, okay, for the very basic part, each feature has their own name. But like each configuration or each screen, people are naming them differently, or each operation, they're naming them differently. So you need to make sure how your users are naming those operations or features. And while naming your article inside your knowledge base, you don't have to mention all the different names that your users are giving to that feature, but at least in the explanation part, you need to mention those keywords as well so that people will be able to find what they're looking for inside. Otherwise, first they need to find how they're naming this feature or operation, and then find the reply for the question. Yeah.
How would you suggest going about just finding those terms that the users are using?
Interviews all the time.
Okay.
Interviews, sales demos, and customer success meetings. Yeah.
Okay. And then you would hold on, actually I did add some part of I guess the most effective way of building a knowledge base.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, it's exactly what you said. Like understand your users' needs, but then
Yeah.
also the customer's language as well. So you want to
Yeah.
embed that. So because at the end of the day, you're kind of also, would you say you're also teaching them about, if you link it to the terminology? So for example, um uh, for our guides, a lot of people call it, for example, like interactive product tours, or there's other terminologies for it.
Some people call them user guidings. So yeah,
Amazing.
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, we do have some other examples here. So sharing practical tips, right? It has to be efficient because it's not a blog, right? Do some users kind of mistake it for, they add a lot of information?
Yes, exactly. So people visit your knowledge base when they are looking for something.
Mm,
It's not like they regularly visit your knowledge base and look for tips and stuff. They ask you a question, you provide them the knowledge base link, or they come into your knowledge base with a very specific question in their mind. So you need to be careful about that. Yeah.
gotcha. I did start a poll here just out of curiosity, understanding how many people of our audience are using the knowledge base right now. And if, of course, if they have any questions, we can tackle those. Probably by the end, the last 10-15 minutes, we can go through like a little demo of showing you how to build one.
Mhm.
Because the way that we've, or you guys have designed the knowledge base as well, it's not just a one page type of document. There's layers to it, and there's like
Mhm.
categories, And you can add lots of different elements as well, like the way that we use it as well, like GIFs and videos and linking articles that might be connected to other articles, right? The related ones. So even with having that type of organization, of course, it would help the user at the end find the answers that they're looking for, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I can also add that, like, for someone just starting off with their own knowledge base, like creating their own knowledge bases, I can also suggest the tip that this is one is especially for product managers. Like Alican already said, the product managers already creating a lot of documentation for internal use, or like either they won't even have to be documentations. They could also be like chats and threads and like conversations with the other shareholders. If they can pile those up, let's say for a specific feature, if they pile those up and just go to their favorite AI tool and then ask it to turn that into a knowledge base article, they will be amazed because it will give you a great format for a knowledge base article. I'm pretty sure there will be some minor mistakes and some some parts needed to be edited after that. But especially for someone starting off with writing knowledge base articles, it will help them a lot to get them started.
To understand like how to write it,
Yes.
what to write, what are some of the inquiries. You kind of have to, as I want to link it back to like, does it make a difference if the platform itself is like complex or simple? Does it change the way that you would write the article, or is it supposed to be all just like really simplified?
No, actually, like what we do, and this is also the best way to go about it, in my opinion, at least. Like you start off pretty general. So let's say you have released a new feature, let's say a mid-sized feature. You create maybe 2 or 3 main articles, and then as you go about it, and as you start to get like support questions on the feature as well, you get ideas about what angles I should improve on these articles, and then you start to get a little bit deeper on the articles, and then you start to create more articles like aimed at, focused on a single aspect of a feature. And once, like after maybe like 6 months of release, you have like 10 articles on the feature. And then after a year, you get like 30 articles, almost covering like almost all types of possible questions that you can get about that single feature.
That's actually very interesting. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Actually, yeah, I totally agree with Emrah. You don't need to wait to be ready from all the different angles that people can ask those questions. Actually, you need to start publishing content. And there's this other side of things that I like to make a recommendation about. So you need to keep the same design architecture inside your product and in your knowledge base, because people are more likely to follow the same path that they are following inside your product. So you need to be careful about that. Otherwise, it's going to be hard for them to find out where the information is located inside your knowledge base.
Interesting. What about maintenance? Let's say there's like something that changed in the platform. What is the best way to go about updating the articles?
I think, in my opinion, that's another plus of using a third-party knowledge-based provider like UserGuiding, instead of like keeping a knowledge base or creating and trying to maintain a knowledge base natively or on your website or like WordPress or whatever, because we actually provide what you see is what you get editor. So it's pretty easy to edit your articles, and it's actually pretty easy and pretty fast, and you can actually like go ahead and change it, let's say a paragraph on your existing article, and like publish it in about a minute, if you know what you're doing. So that is that is one big plus. But in terms of like what to monitor and what to iterate on, it all comes back to feedback. So you have to get you have to try to get constant feedback from your users, whether through interviews or like whether through like using surveys or whatever. And if we're talking about like strictly in terms of knowledge base articles, the best way to go about it, and we also use this as well, to collect feedback on specific articles. And we also have that feature as well. You can collect sentimental feedback on certain articles. And that way, if you see that your like one of your articles is not performing well and is not scoring well, you can go ahead and try to test different versions of it and see how it improves. And other than that, it's mostly, like I said, it's mostly trying to get constant feedback, and based on those feedback, and just like I said, you can also go ahead and look through the relevant support queries on a specific feature or a specific question as well, and you can try to fill those gaps in your knowledge base by providing articles to those questions.
Yeah, I'm trying to find one of the feedback. There we go. I guess this is one of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can get also like the analytics feedback on if the help article was efficient for answering the question.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Now, just think here. There's usually we also do we have another form, right? We have like a text, or is it just like the smiley face?
You can visit our product updates page, I guess. They're
Yeah.
like
Oh, okay.
the other type of feedback
Yeah, the
section we have.
free form feedback is only for product updates feature because these are for functional use only, like functional purposes. The sentimental works better on knowledge base articles, but for product updates, you can also collect written feedback as well.
All right. There we go. So for this one, there is a unified design outline. I would say it does look very unified and complementary. Okay, so you have this as well.
Yeah.
Lovely. Is there a do you maybe Alican, this is a question for you as well.
Mhm.
At any point, do we have some updates? Oh, we do have links here as well, right? Like for like the help center user.
Mhm.
Perfect. Does the content sometimes overlap between both the product updates and the help center?
Yeah, some users of ours prefer that actually. Instead of having a product updates page, they're creating a new category inside their knowledge base, and they want to make those update announcements as a new category inside their knowledge base. But we prefer the product updates page because it's like flowing chronologically, so that's why it's way cooler. People can keep track of what's changing inside the platform on a single view. Yeah.
Like a change log.
Mhm.
Yes, exactly. That's the point.
Nice. I mean, we've talked a lot about the knowledge base. I want to go a little bit on the metrics and the analytics that you can get from it as well, because I know in the AI assistant you can also, of course, like look at the conversations. For the help center or for the knowledge base and the resource center, does it also populate the potential searches that the users are looking for?
Yes. Especially in the resource center recently, we released this feature. Since it's inside the app, it's getting a lot more queries than the product updates and the knowledge base feature. So we are listing all the queries, all the things that people type inside the search field, and it gives you a great idea about what's happening inside the product from their point of view. Yeah.
Unmuted, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think this also helps with understanding the user language as well,
It
right?
does.
So
Yeah.
understanding, yeah,
It's so funny. You need to give it a try. It's really fun. Yeah.
because you
Yeah,
would think there's like, oh, sorry, go ahead, Emrah.
no, no. Not just that, it also gives you ideas about what's missing, like what you're missing out on your knowledge base, what other areas that you need to cover that you are not currently providing access for.
Interesting. Yeah, yeah, that is a very unique, I guess, outcome from having such data collected as well. One thing I wanted to share as well was a couple of months ago, I had a webinar for the knowledge base as well with one of our customers, our users from Brian Studies. And their main use case was using the knowledge base because they built this new platform. It's basically a learning management software, an e-learning a platform, and their main case was the knowledge base. And they told me like during that time it was so crucial, and it impacted the onboarding so much that of course like they were able to reduce so much money from like the support costs. And they even created multiple versions in multiple languages, so localization and translating the articles, because I believe it's also a German company, so they had two versions of the knowledge base, one in like German and another one in English. So yeah, I mean, does that mean like it's like double the work, or can you do like an easy translation? Do we have any workarounds for adding localization to the knowledge base?
Yeah, it's just one click, Jude. Like you just make one extra click and start creating content in a different language. You don't need to worry about the architecture and like structuring the article. It's gonna be placed same way with the original default language article. And it's just one click. You create a new language version and you start updating it. And actually, yeah, it is saving a lot in terms of support costs, especially like when you calculate the number of tickets you receive and average ticket resolving time and the amount of resources that you like on a monthly basis that you pay for the support operations. You can make a really quick calculation, and once you see the number of queries that are being resolved by themselves without the intervention of a support team member, it's saving a lot of money
Yeah,
for us as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
amazing.
And there's this like industry benchmark. It's kind of a rule of thumb that is used as an industry benchmark that like around 10 knowledge base article views like amounts to a single support ticket that is reduced from your workload. So like Brian study in about, I guess, 6 months, if I remember correctly, have gotten like 1,000, like 10,000 article views, and that's how they saved a lot of money in support costs.
But that's like, I would say that's a big part of it is creating these articles. But what about, let's say, how should teams structure their um, I guess, self-service
Mhm.
tools, and the operations, so to ensure that the knowledge base and the AI assistant actually gets used.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty. I think it's pretty straightforward. Like, uh, you you already have you already run into these questions while you're developing a product or a feature or an improvement to a feature. So you already come up with these questions, and if you already release this feature and you try to create a knowledge base article for it, you can go back and readdress those questions and start off like I said earlier, start off with the general ones, and you can set up a couple of articles. And if you are trying to create an article for a new feature, which is even better because you can already start uh, designing the feature with providing self-service support already in mind. So you can already start creating the knowledge base articles that are necessary, that will be necessary after the release while developing and creating the feature.
Yeah, actually, at the end of the day, again, it all comes down to the meaning of digital adoption for you, or for all of us, actually. Like on the initial level, it's user onboarding. So you need to make sure people know what you offer, the value that you provide for them. And you also need to make sure that people are capable of receiving that value out of your product. And you also care about feature usage, not just the initial onboarding process and the feature usage. And you also like want your product to be involved in actual operations that generate value for that company or for their users. And support and user training are also like a big part of the digital adoption journey. So like for each of those items, you can use all of those as a separate instrument, and you need to decide in which operation you're going to use these instruments for. But again, like these 4 items are really important, and you can start with any of them. Yeah,
Yeah, and then build slowly, as even like as you're
exactly.
building the product and you're getting the feedback from the users, as you said, user interviews, or even like understanding their if you're like using um a user tracking, I guess,
Mhm.
a tool as well, to better understand how the users are interacting with the platform. Maybe they're looking for something, right? Then these are some things that you can get the hints for. um
Easily. Yeah.
yeah. Moving forward to the AI assistant, we've talked a lot about like the knowledge base, but the AI assistant is the newest tool that we've added, and we've hopped on this like the bandwagon of adding integrating AI. And I know that other solutions, digital adoption solutions, they're also integrating AI, but in a different way, right? In a different prompts, or they're using it for like different cases, I guess. But for us, I guess we added it as a chatbot, right? Uh, Again, kind of similar question to the knowledge base. What intrigued this approach in adding the AI assistant as an external, not an external, but like for the end user to interact with and get the support.
Yeah, the very first thing is like we really, as an organization, we believe in the conversational UI that is gonna make things much easier in the close feature for all of us. So we needed to involve this approach inside our toolkit. That's the first reason. And the second one is actually we wanted to make something different. Like there are like different levels of AI applications that you can utilize inside your product or in your daily life. So you have the LLMs that are generating written replies, and you have like AI workflows, not just generating replies, but also not just generating written replies, but also doing some operations and approaching queries on a different path. And you also have the agents, which is like a hot topic right now. So instead of just building a LLM that is generating text replies. We wanted to improve it to the workflow side a little bit, and maybe in the future, with the technology improving, we will also have agents that are doing operations for our users, with our users. But like we need to observe what's happening in the AI world before talking about real AI agents. But at the end of the day, we have something that is both generating replies with references and also a little bit of workflows that can take the user by the hand and show their desired operation inside the platform. So yeah, these two are
Yeah.
the motivations behind the AI system. Yeah,
When you said take the user by the hand, what did you mean by that specifically? Like,
yeah. Like our AI assistant, it can reply questions with interactive guides.
mm,
So like if the user asks something, actually, if you're prepared for it, if you've created a in-app tour for that specific question, our AI assistant can understand and offer the tutorial for the user instead of providing a written reply. And this
mm,
is one of the coolest features of our AI system. Yeah,
amazing. I know that we're able. I mean, a way that we would, I guess, the AI needs to be trained, right?
exactly.
Or you need
Yeah.
to add sources. So we have like the knowledge base. You can add it with the AI assistant, so it attracts, right, retracts the answers from
Mhm.
the information that you've added. The external URL, of course, it would be just like a website, right? So you just.
Yeah, any website, any page on the web. Yep.
Mhm. But what about the text snippet? What would that look like?
Text snippets, the way we use them are like very basic instructions for our AI assistant. This is the like sometimes you cannot update the knowledge base article or you cannot update your web page, but you can easily provide some written information for your assistant like in no time, so that whenever a query comes about that topic, it can refer to the text snippet and reply that question really quickly, so that you don't need to update your web page or add extra information to your web page, because it takes time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I want to jump in here. I have a cool story, and I just had I think it was about 10 days ago, I had an interview with one of our users that has been trying out our knowledge base and AI assistant. And he actually came up with a very clever way to utilize this text snippet. He had he had a habit of like compiling all of the notes about a single feature or a part of the product. He was compiling those notes from the meetings or all of the decisions made along the way. He was compiling those notes in a single page just for his use only earlier, and then he tried to utilize those notes as text snippets for the assistant, and he just gave those like unstructured, like unedited notes to the assistant, the user guiding assistant, and it worked like a charm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's able to like organize it, and yeah, I guess like retract some information from there. Do you know what type of like notes that he was? Do you have like an example or because can you
I
add
mean,
like multiple?
it could be something like let's say we are let's say Alican is working on a new feature, and he got stuck on a single experience on a page. Let's say like it could even be like a color of a button or a location of a button. So he asks a couple of us in the company for our ideas, and based on those ideas, he makes a decision, and he basically what this customer was doing was basically logging all those decisions made along the way in a basic maybe Word file or a Notion file or something like that, in a text format. Then he came up with the idea that why don't I use that those text format logs to feed the AI, and it really worked.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Unstructured written information that can be used as a reference for the AI assistant. Yeah.
I think
That's
at
why
some
we have the
point,
text snippets. Yeah.
some is better than none, right? Giving
Exactly.
a little bit of information is better than just having generalized, AI language.
Mhm.
What is the balance between, like how should companies and teams balance between automation and the need for like human support to get involved?
I don't think it's a question of balancing rather than pushing the automation as much as they can, in my opinion, because you want automated systems in place to cover most of the queries or questions or like tasks at hand, and you want to use the human power to basically iterate on those processes and constantly improve those processes. So if you have let's say you have a couple of customer success managers at the company, you don't necessarily want them to work on support queries from the users like day in day out, but rather want them to work on perfecting the self-service support processes and tools you have at hand, so that they don't have to handle daily support queries, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So
It's not a question about balancing. I think it's a question about eliminating human effort as much as you can in terms of providing direct support.
right. Would you say it's like a win-win situation?
Definitely, yes.
It is actually. Like, I was also making a small research about this topic lately for a talk. And actually, there's a diagram, there's a chart for this. There are like two different axes in this chart. The first one is the complexity of the problem that you're solving. And the second one is the level of sophistication of your customers. Like how do you say that in English? But tech aware? No,
Yeah,
tech
like
savvy. Tech
Tech-savvy,
savvy,
yes.
yeah. So like it's about the complexity of the problem and the level of tech savviness of your customer. So if you're solving a problem with low complexity, less complexity, and your users are tech savvy, then you definitely need to go for the automations. It's much more effective, efficient, profitable for your organization. But if you're solving a problem that is like complex and the users are not so tech savvy, then maybe instead of do it yourself, you can take the approach which we call like do it for you or do it with you. So there's still some parts of automation that is involved, but it totally depends on these two metrics, let's say. But again, all these approaches, especially with the introduction of AI in our like product operations, we are trying to replace unscalable operations with scalable ones, so that people like us, we can tackle more complex problems for our users and work on more important stuff for our users.
Yeah, this actually takes me to my next question is, how do we see the AI assistant evolving in the future? Or do you see the AI itself being a part of other features that we already have?
Yeah. Exactly. Like we're going to introduce more AI inside user guiding, not just for the AI assistant, but for all the other features as well. Because like the easiest thing that you can do with AI is to create content. And like for every point we have inside our product where people are creating content or struggling with creating content, they'll have the chance to use our, let's say, little AI sprinkles, not AI features, but the AI sprinkles inside our tool. And actually, we are watching the way the AI agents are taking, and if they're really useful or not. And we are observing that technology, so that like we are looking for more areas that we can improve our AI system for the near future as well. Not just replying questions, but maybe completing some tasks for the end users. Yeah.
Awesome. Let's see if we have any other questions.
Mhm.
I think so far so good. We don't have any questions. I think we've covered a lot of the potential questions as well. What we can do is we can go through a little bit of a preview of what it looks like building a knowledge base and an AI from the perspective from within user guiding. So everyone can see how easy and quick it is to kind of create, manage, and implement. Emrah, will you be able to share your screen? Or hold on, I think you're muted.
Aljan, do you have the thing ready, or no, I can do that.
Actually, I have it ready. Just give me a couple of seconds. Yeah.
No worries. Take your time. In the meantime, we do have a couple of minutes left for this session. We do have a live product demo coming up in June as well. So 1 second, I will activate it. So
Can you guys see my screen?
no, hold on, I added it
Oh, perfect.
here. Awesome. So this is a button where you can register for the live group demo. We will have it on the 25th of June.
Mhm.
Take it away, Alija.
Okay, so this is like very basic trial account that I have in user guiding. And here you can see the knowledge base tab. This is pretty straightforward. And you just need to click on the activate your knowledge base button. And actually it's ready. And what you need to do is you can visit your knowledge base, which is quite empty right now. So there's nothing to be seen. What we are going to do is I love starting with the style and the customization of the page. So what I do is I change the color, something like this,
Nice.
and you can change the fonts. And you can change the items on your header, upload your own logo, and also on the footer. And once you're done with this part, what you need to do is just wait. Yeah. You need to go to the articles, start creating an article, name it, and type some description.
The interface looks very simple. It's like
It
quite a
is.
blog with WordPress, right?
Yeah, we already have two readily available stuff here. What you need to do is go to your article, click on it, inside settings, assign your article to a category, just like this, and save it. So it becomes available in that category, and you can like drag, drop, and change the placement of that article. And let's see if it's visible. Oh, I need to save it. Just wait.
Oh, I think it's drafted, probably.
It's probably drafted. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Mhm. I need to publish it first. So everything is under your control. And I didn't like this blue color. I'm gonna change the color.
Pink
Save it.
is the
Yeah.
medium.
So yeah, here's your category and here's your article. And it took like 5 seconds to build it. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. I think that's all for the time that we have now. Thank you guys so much for joining today. All right, and see you in the next one. Thank you guys.
Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.